The Advanced Practicum and Apprenticeship in Community Building, Class 7, Deepening the Value of Community Awareness. Hello, I'm Jim Morningstar, Director of Transformations, and your guide through this 8-session Advanced Practicum and Apprenticeship in Community Building. The focus of this 7th class is building on the investment and contribution of each community member through knowing the family dynamics we bring into the community and getting the support of community members to rewrite dysfunctional scripts and to own the playful and fulfilling energies we came into this world to share for the enhancement of all. We will apply family systems theory to ourselves and engage in interactive and mutually supportive community relationships. As we become more clear person to person with each member in our major system of relationships, we can feel good about ourselves and think more clearly regardless of who it is, not just people who think and act like us. This process is called individuation, that is, becoming a well-defined individual that is emotionally connected and functioning well in all sectors of our life. This is a growing process from infancy, in which we tend to be part of a, quotes, undifferentiated family ego mass, as it's called, in which the thoughts and feelings of one party have little distinction from another's. If mother is cold, everyone wears a sweater. If father is having a bad day, everyone suffers. Family systems tend to evolve as a group, with the general level of differentiation of its members being similar, and all growing from one generation to another or not. Of course, there are individuals who can evolve or devolve slower or faster, but the mental expectations and the emotional pressure is to keep members of a family system around the same level. Evolutionary speaking, this is to keep the group safe, like a herd of antelope protecting itself from predators. So the instincts are deep and particularly compelling when unconscious. This is a part of the phenomenon of homesickness when one first moves away, and why some never do move far away physically, or take the family system with them internally and try to replicate it wherever they go. Again, this is not a malign process, but it can be quite limiting and lead to conflicts between college roommates, to marital couples, to cultural groups. Communities are the laboratories in which family systems of individuals are amalgamated into systems of greater diversity and resources, or breeding grounds for conflict and competing groups, like cliques in high school. In communities, members will represent emotional figures from one's family system that are positively or negatively charged. To the degree we have not individuated with these figures in our family systems, those charges are still alive and getting triggered by people in our current environment, especially in a community that has the characteristics of closeness, frequent communication, and exchange of beliefs and feelings that are reminiscent of family systems. We have a natural instinct to want to bond, but an aversion to unpleasant emotional encounters, or perhaps an attraction to them because they're familiar. A conscious community will both be aware of these tendencies and will use them productively to release undifferentiated parts or even traumatized parts that members carry with them. I, as many, have had the experience of the person towards whom I had an initial negative reaction. In the course of getting to know them, became the closest of friends. We help each other heal and grow in these ways in community. Community provides us with stimuli that elicits emotional reactions, often with a lesser intensity than original family members. giving us more objectivity to examine our reactions and release triggers with greater self-compassion and understanding of others. Someone in community may remind me of a mother, father, or sibling in certain ways, but not other ways, thus allowing me less intensity of stimulation and opportunity to put my reactions to them in a safe perspective. Neurologically speaking, deactivating my amygdala and restoring my connections to the prefrontal cortex. This means I can quite literally change the fight-flight pathways in my brain around the people in my original family system with whom I had unresolved issues, both large and small. I experienced this personally long before I ever understood the neurology of it. So let's take advantage of the opportunity of the communities we now have in which to heal and grow. Choose the community with the most closeness emotionally to you for this next exercise. Those in the current class use this community. Take Handout 2, Family Individuation, and in Section 1, Family Members, complete A. The member of my community that most reminds me of my mother, insert your mother's first name, is B. The member of my community that most reminds me of my father, insert your father's first name, is C. The member of my community that most reminds me of my sibling, insert their first name, is, and D. The member of my community that most reminds me of an emotionally charged figure in my family or extended family, insert their first name, is, and E. Another member of my community that most reminds me of an emotionally charged figure in my family or extended family, insert their first name, is. Then, in Section 2, Challenge Resolution. Now, complete this as if you were communicating it to the person in your community you identified in Section 1. A challenge I had with name the role and first name, for example, my father John, is, for example, he was angry and punitive with me. And how my relationship with you, you're talking to your community member, serves me in this challenge is, for example, I now feel that men can be warm and compassionate. Complete in the same manner 2B, 2C, 2D, and 2E. Know that one of the 5 family members you choose could be, quotes, a sister I never had, or a friend of my father who abused me. In other words, pick emotionally significant figures in your life, even if they were absent or you never met them, but they still have an impact on your life. However, make sure that mother and father are on your list. Complete Handout 2 and come back to the video. Completing Handout 2 can serve more than just issues with specific characters in your family system. The issues that these family members represent keep getting transferred to the next most triggering people you attract in your life to bring them forth. Generally, the more you ignore them, the more challenging they become, rather than what your mind tells us, if you ignore it, it'll go away. That's not always the best advice, because what may go away is the opportunity to bring more richness into your life when you release the fears and erroneous conclusions about yourself and the world that these issues represent. As the expression goes, what you resist persists. The beauty of community is that you get to consciously choose to deal with the issues with people also committed to do so in a mutually supportive way. Now, even if there were mutual triggering to occur between community members, it's seldom the case, in my experience, that these cannot be resolved with the communication tools we now have at our disposal. Those who are not actively taking this course now have the choice to deliver these communications to members of your community you named in Handout 2, after explaining to them what the exercise is about. Those currently in this course are asked to deliver these communications to members in our present community. Electronic means of communication are acceptable. And then to follow up as much as mutually beneficial. It's actually an honor for community members to be selected for this soul-clearing exercise in my past experience. Enhancing individuation in all your communities. Taking this work of individuation into all your communities is what transforms your life and your success in family, social, and work relationships. Not everyone will appreciate this transformation in you. As I mentioned earlier in this class, systems tend to want to keep its members close to their established norm. So the acid test for your transformation is to maintain your authentic self while you're with your family of origin. This does not mean trying to change their belief systems. It means keeping your emotional connections as open as possible while maintaining an inner balance and trust in who you are and accepting each member where they are at as where they need to be at this moment in time. Even if you notice yourself sliding back into old family feelings and patterns of behavior, what changes patterns is not that they never happen again. It is that when they do, they are noticed and forgiven more quickly and easily. Then other choices and options for behavior appear more readily because we're not trapped in our fight, flight, or freeze responses. To change the patterns of a nuclear family involves tapping into our resources of nuclear energy and directing them into productive and harmonious pathways versus nuclear warfare. Each of us has the power to do this within our core. We are hereby pledging to harness this energy for the highest good of humanity and planetary ascension. Do I hear an amen? Okay. I send and receive blessings for our circle and all sentient beings till next class. Blessings in light and love.